going on, guys? This is your boy Luis, and as always, thanks for tuning in to another episode. This is an exciting video, a long-awaited video. One, because I am so anxious to get this thing started and on the road. But as you guys may know, and as I will always say, I am not a professional, okay? This is something that I'm recording because I am learning in the process of my own build. So take that with a grain of salt, if that's how the saying goes. But anyways, I am not a professional. I'm only doing this for kind of information on my own build. And if it happens to help you guys out in your own build, then I am very happy to do, you know, something simple as upload a video. I have never ever even messed around with ECU Masters software. I actually had to buy kind of like a little cheap laptop just to even try to mess around with that thing. So that being said, I am gonna, I guess, initially test out to see if I wired everything up correctly. Once again, I think, well, let's get into this video. Alright, so certain things are not in sync from, I think that is my ignition, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, the first thing that I kind of wanted to try out, since it was basically in my face, was the TPS throttle setting. If I wired up correctly, there should be some type of percentage that goes up on that. So that's the first thing that I guess I'm gonna test out. So let's go ahead, foot in the throttle. Okay, that's all the way down, and TPS reading says 72%. So from my understanding is that I gotta make changes to the voltage on the initial settings on this, and I honestly do not know where the heck to go from here. So you guys remember I mentioned Cody, one of my friends. I like to think that he's my friend because he's been helping me. Alright, but anyways, check that thing out. Looks sexy right there. Anyways, so my buddy Cody has agreed to kind of help me go through this. He's the one that has been helping me with all the wiring and answering pretty much all of my questions. I downloaded an app called TeamViewer. So he is gonna have remote access to my computer, and hopefully we're gonna be able to go through some settings. Hopefully I could get him on the phone and maybe explain some of the stuff that he's gonna do.
Right now, this right here at the bottom, CEL, that's your check engine light.
Yes.
So right now you have no error codes. You would get an error code if the air temperature sensor was unplugged, CLT was unplugged, stuff like that.
Cool, so that means that everything is connected?
Yes.
Perfect.
Sensor-wise, yes.
Cool.
Second, down here at the bottom is your firmware version, 1.20.
Okay.
That is a little bit old, so let's go ahead and update it. There's newer features in firmware, so let's just get the newest and greatest. And alright, we gotta go grab the newest, so you can shut the car off.
Okay. So now we've officially downloaded the beta, which is the latest version. I did not download the beta because I initially thought that it might have been just in beta mode, but I guess that's the best or most updated version.
Yeah. You can always double check. You can go up to help and about, and that is your version of software on your computer.
Cool.
Okay. So go ahead and go key on again.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Remember, you bought this what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I bought it a while ago.
Yeah. So here's the process to update it. File, upgrade. You actually get like all the versions here.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
So actually we can go back. 1.20 is 4 years old.
So I had a full 4-year-old version.
go. We're gonna click open it. It's gonna ask you, do not shut off the ECU. Do not kill power. Don't, just let it do its thing for 20 seconds. 218.
Yep.
Cool. Now.
All right. So testing fans. Yep. They both work. Alright guys, so really quick, I just want to say, Cody, shout out. Thank you very, very much. I was able to learn a lot. I don't want to, guys, I know this was, if I would have recorded everything that he was showing me, we were honestly on the phone for 2.5 hours he was controlling the computer remotely, and I was on the phone checking everything under the engine bay. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to kind of know that as a newbie, and all the sensors that I wired up and everything that I wired up in the engine bay, there was only one thing that I had to correct and I had to fix that I wired up incorrectly. Not incorrectly, but I just switched a couple of pins. But before I show you guys, as you guys saw, he remotely turned on the ECU to turn on the fans. So the fans turned on, they kicked on, so they're gonna kick on at a certain temperature. We checked injectors, and every single one starting from the front all the way to the back clicked, and everything was working. Coils, he had to set an ignition parameter, so like they could actually go through the ignition sequence, and ZZ coils are working. You guys can see too, the air intake temperature sensor is working because it's sensing atmospheric temperature, so that's working. Oil pressure, obviously we weren't able to test at the moment because there's no oil currently running through it. But cam and crank, the crank, we were able to set the crank. We telling the ECU that it's a 36-to-1 crank trigger. It's missing one tooth, and obviously I have to set up the ATI dampener to top dead center, make sure everything is top dead center, and then later on we're gonna do with the timing gun and actually set cam sync so everything is communicating correctly. Fuel or boost solenoid is working. That was clicking, it was working. I got some homework to do. I have to double check to make sure exactly what wastegate, what spring is in my wastegate, so that's some homework that I gotta do. But let me show you guys what I actually did wrong. The one thing that I did wrong was actually my fuel pump relay. I had switches 87 and 85 mixed, so they were backwards. So my signal from the ECU was going into the pin that's supposed to go to the pump. So basically I had pin 87, which is supposed to go into the pump, going into 85, which is my ECU signal. So kind of scary, but I was able to fix that real quick. I just flipped them, I depinned them, flipped them, and then retested the fuel pump, and that worked perfectly fine. So in reality, I mean, one little mistake in the wiring, but that is good to go. Whew. Under the ECU, like I said, he set basic parameters, initial crank setups for engine rev limiters and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of stuff that he set. As you guys can see, the fuel pressure's off right now because I don't have any fuel in the actual tank. So that's another thing that I gotta do. I gotta go buy some fuel, 91. and we could test the actual fuel pressure and set fuel pressure, our base fuel pressure on that. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that he kind of set here that I'm kind of going over, but did not want to mess up anything that he set up. But yeah, guys, pretty much we are this close to trying to start it up for the first time. So I gotta get some stuff, and hopefully next time that you guys see, we will have the first start on this bad boy. But yeah, I'm so excited, guys. Super excited. A lot of questions that I had are kind of answered, and they're gonna continue to be answered and for me to learn. So yep. My buddy Cody told me to kind of make some changes or double check some things, and one of them specifically was the wastegate. As you guys remember, a long time ago I bought this VS Racing 60mm wastegate, and I was kind of double checking everything just so he could set up safety parameters or boost parameters on the actual base tune, I guess you could say. So I was kind of double checking the wastegate. First of all, this is a 20-pound spring, a 6-pound spring, and a 4-pound spring. Turns out that on my last setup, I don't know how this happened, but you know, it's probably my fault for not double checking things. I had a 6-pound and a 20-pound spring. So if you guys remember, on the SAFC and the Lexus airflow meter and on pump gas, I was running around 26 to 28 pounds of boost, which it pulled nice, but that was a no-go. Very iffy for the engine. So it was a good thing that I double checked the springs that were in there. Another thing that I wanted to show you guys is it's kind of hard to see right here, but as you guys can see here, my diaphragm is pretty much damaged. It's not good. There's for sure boost leaks or anything like that, or something like that. The diaphragm was pinched around the top hat, the housing of the wastegate. So this is bad news. So this, if you guys did not know this, these VS Racing wastegates are based off the tile housings, so the older generation housings. So I did some research online, and I can buy an actual tile 60mm diaphragm and switch it up to this VS Racing one. So not terrible news. I guess I can buy a tile diaphragm, which would be actually better quality as well. So there's a couple of things that I can or can't do. Obviously I cannot use this wastegate. So in the meantime, guys, while I wait for some stuff, I got my little trusty little pump here. I am bleeding the brakes right now. Fun fact, I forgot that these were Mercedes metrics, or say, or whatever you want to call it. So this is a 3/8 for the actual bleed valve. But yeah, I began bleeding it right now, so I'm gonna continue to do both sides. So the brakes are pretty much good to go. So these little pumps are kind of cool. Not pumps, but like little reservoirs are cool if you're ever bleeding your brakes, because you could kind of have it on one side here, and as soon as you let it open, you can kind of see pressure moves any air up, and you could keep on pumping until you don't see any more air bubbles. Then you'll know that you're completely good to go. Alright guys, so after a few days of wait, the actual tile diaphragm has officially showed up. As you guys can see here, this is just a way better quality, way better material. This one that came with the VS Racing one, it's not bad, but you could just automatically tell it's a different material and just better quality altogether. So it comes in with the little screws to kind of tighten everything down. As you guys can see, the top is a bit different, but everything should work as it should. The inside right here where the springs get loaded is a bit different. As you guys can see here, I have a different spring set here because I would be running a different set of spring for the actual wastegate. Like I said, the wrong springs were set initially, so I will be running, I want to say 16 pound, so a few of those to equal 16 pounds of wastegate pressure. So basically we're gonna throw this sucker on. You could just automatically tell it's just so much better quality. Tomorrow, Sunday, is official, guys. We are gonna try to pretty much start this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and throw on the wastegate tonight and get that situated. Put about 5 gallons of fuel in the gas tank and hopefully try to get this thing started tomorrow. So this is very exciting. But we're going to leave that for another video, so stay tuned. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And stay tuned because hopefully next video, this girl gonna fire up. Fingers crossed. Alright, so on to the next one, guys. Peace.